Greetings from LA, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I very much hope that this video finds you well and in very good spirits wherever you are in the world. And today, if you don't mind, I would very much like to continue on with our journeys, our discussions, our discoveries, and our explorations with respect to the recent releases made by the Criterion Collection during this year of 2023. And that brings us to a title which has been designated by Criterion at 1196. And this is a work which is described as being from the year 2022. And the name of the filmmaker is Nikyatu Jusu. And the name of this work is NANNY. This is the work which is described as being from the year 2022, and it is from the filmmaker Nikyatu Jusu, and written and directed by Jusu. And it has a very impeccable cast, included in which are Anna Diop and Cinqua Walls and Michelle Monaghan and others. And it is this film which is NANNY, courtesy of this Blu-ray edition released by the Criterion Collection during this year of 2023. It is my first time to be able to watch this film thanks to this Criterion Collection release, and I was very surprised in terms of where it took me and the levels that it was engaging with. And it has this way of being approached in a very multifaceted way, combining many elements that are very effective, chilling, disturbing, frustrating in terms of the things that befall our main characters as well. Speaking of which, before we get into it, let's go right into a brief discussion, if we can, about our approach to the plot or story structure of this work. And when we think about the story structure, I think we can focus in on our main character of Aisha, who we meet very early on. And we understand also fairly early on about her own background and experience. She is from Senegal, and she has certain family and relations in Senegal. Now she is currently in New York City. And I mentioned people back home in Senegal. In particular, there is a relationship, her son, who's very important to her. And Aisha is trying in her life here in New York as an immigrant from her home, now living in the city of New York, trying to essentially work to save money to be able to bring her family and her son to America to live with her and to live together. So this is her dream. This is her hope, and her hope is through the hopes and aspirations and just being together with her son. And you can see this almost from the get-go, almost immediately, in terms of how we see Aisha, the character, the Anna Diop character. It's a brilliant performance, by the way. How we see her interact with the phone, a long distance conversations with her son, which is all she can do right now because she is geographically distant and separated from them. But she is trying desperately to work in order to save money, in order to get to enable them to come here and live with her in New York. So that is the crux, and we see it very much part of who she is, or very key integral part of who she is, and what drives her. And we understand too that it forms part of her motivations and her dreams, as well as creating a sense of tension, because a lot is riding on this. A lot is riding on this in terms of her own livelihood, her own state of being, because we understand too that her son is very important to her, and right up. Of course, right, because it is her son. So, and we see that heartfelt nature expressed in these moments of talking with him and considering him and recalling him and remembering him. So, that is the setup of her character, wonderfully rendered and portrayed character of Aisha. And how is she to try to save this money? well, she is going to be working as a nanny in a household in New York of a very well-to-do couple, and in particular the mother of a child here, and this is the mother portrayed by Michelle Monaghan, and this is the character of Amy. And taking care of the young child of their household is Aisha's job here as the nanny, as the titular character here, nanny. And here we have the basic setup, and already immediately we have thrusted into the very proceedings here concepts of class and race and sort of modern day contemporary living, and the idea too also of professional work and gender, gender-based, maybe gender inequality related issues that are part of, or that could be said to be a part of Michelle Monaghan's character's story as well, because we get certain clues or hints as to how she is trying to work in her own particular job, her own profession, and how she seems to be expressing certain aspects of frustration in terms of how much she needs to invest in terms of energy in order to be promoted, in order to get ahead in her job. And perhaps she is perhaps attributing that to her place in gender roles, or certain externally realized expectations based on gender, at least as she is expressing it on the one hand. Also, we see frustrations on her side and in this family, in terms of possible suspected infidelities between husband and wife, and how that is affecting their relationship, and how this in turn, either directly or indirectly through maybe certain what can be described as microaggressions, how this is affecting Aisha, the nanny of the title, how this is affecting her work, because we see her grow and develop and have a lovely rapport with the young child of the household, and sometimes maybe developing a relationship such that there is a kind of warmth between them. But there are also reminders of a certain power dynamic that is existing. There is a sense of nannies like Aisha and other people similarly situated under the thumb of the people that are paying them. And so they have to be careful. These are sort of hinted at through other scenes in the film. That adds a certain level of pressure to Aisha's position. There are also certain microaggressions vis-a-vis the relationship between Anna Diop's character and Michelle Monaghan's character in terms of when will she get paid? Will the payments get late? She's asked to work overtime. And late payments are accumulated over time, and when will this be reckoned with? Because after all, as we mentioned, Aisha's main goal, her main motivation, is to be reunited with her son, and the only way she can do that is to save enough money for the passage fare in order for him to join her here in this country. So if she's not going to get paid, that is a sense of true frustration indeed, compounded by other aspects of, say, things that could be said to be invasions of privacy, or aspects of personal, say, impositions, things maybe attending certain events or wearing certain clothes that could be said to be part of these accumulating drip, drip, drip of microaggressions that can be said to be had from one character to the other. And you compound that, or take along with it, again, this pressure of wanting to be together with her son. So this is, I think, creating this development. And we also, along the way, learn more about Aisha through her other relationships and other characters that we meet. Malik's character, this is the Cinque Walls character that's mentioned here. It's a wonderful rapport, a great chemistry between them. And also we understand his background and his family life, and how that may or may not have a deep, significant parallel impact to the life of Aisha, especially when they are together, what it is they bring to their relationship vis-a-vis each other. And then there's Aisha herself, the Anna Diop character. Now, she's very strong and she's very forthright, and so when there are moments of confrontation, she stands her ground, I think, quite confidently. And we as viewers have come to know her so well, and we, I think, can very comfortably too sympathize with her position, because it is a position of, say, um, maybe in position lacking in degrees of equality, both in terms of bargaining power and maybe class and the like. But there are also moments, despite those positionings of inequality, that Aishi really holds her ground and stands on her principles, and really defends herself and protects herself in a way that is very stern, but also expresses that sense of frustration. There is a way in which this film acts as a type of pressure cooker, in the sense that things build and build and build to the point where the pressure is so intense that one cannot help but release the pressure. And those are the moments of a kind of emotional outbreak that occurs. But you combine that with other elements too that might lend itself to the possibly sinister, the possibly supernatural, the unexplained, things that maybe ghosts or specters that might be involved, insects, the notion of the creepy crawlies that lurk at night when one is alone in the shadows. Things or visions or ghosts that are speaking to the children. What is it? Who are they? Are they linked to a sense of a type of folklore images that are that have their own traditions with a type of reckoning with or dealing with, or concepts of fear, etc. And what is this to do with Aisha, her identity, herself, and her view of the world and her view of herself? Is this under threat? Is the facade that, again, even under pressure, seems to have a certain degree of strength and fortitude, is this strong facade still cracking under the pressure to the point where there might be something even more sinister abound, or something more mysterious abound? What is happening? What are the stakes here? And when we realize what is happening, and when we realize how this film turns the way it turns, and there are many turns indeed, we come to realize, or I come to realize upon watching this, that it is a film that is very multi-leveled. It has a power that is speaking to a sort of modern day immigrant experience, and how that is seemingly linked with a sense of unequal or unequal bargaining power. And that also very automatically has links to class concepts and class divides, and also culture clashes as well, that may also have their links to race and race representations. Gender representations are also here. I mentioned the Michelle Monaghan character as an example of this, as well as power dynamics and the abuse of power dynamics. And you take all those elements, which, when turned in a certain way, have a degree of unpleasantness, of discomfort, of frustration. When you pile up or combine those negative energies, there is a sense of unease that is exponentially, I think, expanded upon in the world of Nanny, and also linked to the element of the unknown, dread, fear, horror, that then find voice in these wonderfully rendered cinematic expressions of insects, of spiders, of dreams, of nightmares, of loss, of water, of isolation, etc. And what is it? What is this all entailing? What are the implications? How is Aisha going to be affected, if at all? And what will be the ultimate climax of this? Those and many other questions are being asked and answered when one watches this very compelling work, the work by Nikyatu Jusu, NANNY. And once again, I love the look and sound of this. This is a contemporary film from 2022. There is a way in which this film feels like a genre horror film on the one hand. It also has a contemporary edge to it, a socio-political currency about it. There's a way it's also speaking to the immigrant experience of this specific character, and also doing it away with a lot of style and warmth and heart, as well as a lot of strength and capacity. As mentioned, to the character of Aisha is a very strong character, and a very character that we as viewers, I think, are we sympathize with, and I think that's also due to the great performances, and a Diop performance here in particular. What a great film this is! A very surprising work. I didn't know quite I didn't know quite what to expect when I just before I pressed play and watched this film for the first time. But as I was watching it, I was utterly absorbed and mesmerized and scared and wondering what was going to happen next. And when I realized what was happening, it had the sense of revelatory. And what a work this is! This is the work by Nikyatu Jusu, and it is the film which is NANNY. The Criterion Collection has released this film, NANNY, here on this Blu-ray release, and this is once again at spine number 1196. It's a single disc Blu-ray for a film that is described as being from the year 2022, and it's described as being, or purported to be, a new 4K digital master approved by director Nikyatu Jusu with 5.1 surround DTS HD master audio and uncompressed stereo soundtrack. So that is, it looks great. It's a modern film. It's a film that was made very, very recently. So I really, I'm very impressed with how it looks and sounds. I've never seen this in the theater, so I don't know how the theater experience of this film might take. But be that as it may, or assuming that it would be technically proficient. I think watching this film as I did under this Criterion release, I was very thrilled with this. So this is the very brief details about the materials upon which this release is being made. Again, described as being a 4K digital, and then. For purposes of this Blu-ray. So now let us speak about the supplements. I have the disc in the machine, but unfortunately I can't show it, or I probably shouldn't show it for purposes of the YouTube guidelines, because these are moving images and they are clips from the film, so I don't want to offend even the slightest chance of offending any copyright infringement policies here. So I'm just going to block off the image here, but just note that I do have the disc in the player, and it's playing on the TV as I speak. And the reason why I want to do that is to go to the supplements menu, and there is a supplements menu here, and I'm pressing on the supplements menu button, and I get 3 supplements. The first is called Truth and Terror, and it's described here as edited from interviews filmed by Amazon Studios in 2022. This program, featuring writer-director Nikyatu Jusu, actors Anna Diop and Michelle Monaghan, and cinematographer Rina Yang, showcases their thoughts on the process of creating NANNY. And so this is these are interviews with these various people, these artists, and it's edited together into this single program, which is totaling approximately 16 minutes. It's really wonderful. For example, Jusu, the writer-director Jusu, is speaking about how the phrase cultural specificity, and I really admire that, and the idea of this idea of chemistry casting, which I thought was an interesting concept. And I think an example of that is how the casting of Anna Diop and Cinco Walls, which forms this really key relationship, Aisha Malik, one of the key relationships of the film, how that really hinges on how well the actors work together, the chemistry between the actors. And so I think that's an example here of what is referred to by Nikyatu Jusu as chemistry casting, which I think was an interesting way of describing it. I mean, also other artists or being interviewed here. We should mention Rina Yang speaking about the decision to want to work with Jusu on this film, and just point out the great use of the photo effect. There's a pristine, almost clinical look, almost like the apartments are almost like hospitals. There's almost this idea of chilling perfection, which I think is part of the idea of the slow drip, drip, drip pressure that is part of the horror, for lack of a better phrase. So, which I think I find very, very impressive indeed. So it's great to hear from comments of. Hear comments from Rita Yang, the director of photography. Also, we hear comments from Anna Diop, talking about how she came up to this script and the story, wanting to work with Jusu, and also Michelle Monaghan, too, speaking about her character and the types of pressures that are part of this, and creating a sense of a type of three-dimensionality to her character, which is in a kind of position to be very antagonistic. So these and other reasons, I think this is a great set of interviews, and it's compiled here in this 16-minute program, again, edited from the Amazon Studios interviews from 2022. So this is called Truth and Terror. This is approximately 16 minutes, so please check it out if you can. Next up is Suicide by Sunlight. This is a short film by Jusu. Wow, what a film this is. So it's described here as this 2019 short film about a quote-unquote day-walking vampire vying for custody of her half-human daughters highlights director Nikyatu Jusu's penchant for acute social observation, stretching the boundaries of genre and color-saturated cinematography, elements that would be expanded upon in Nanny. This is a short film. It's approximately 16 minutes from 2019. This is the first time for me watching this short film as well as Nanny. I was blown away by this short film. I thought this was epic. This is scary. It is a great vampire film. This is a great vampire film. It also has it's a drama. It's like a human drama. There's also interesting takes on the vampire genre or subgenre that also has its linkages with type of contemporary social commentary edge, also links to race and race representations, and as well as these great scenes of horror and blood and gore. And moments, the way that maybe at the very start when you see the eyes change, it's very chilling, but also very vampire human, and great ways, great wonderful poetic shorthands to show the character in this short film format. I thought this was splendid, absolutely splendid. I mean, I think the film Nanny is splendid. I think this film Suicide by Sunlight, the short film, is absolutely splendid. So it was my first time to watch both, and what a great introduction to the art of Jusu. My own Jusu journey has begun with this release, thanks to the inclusion of Suicide by Sunlight, and of course the main feature here, which is Nanny. But my goodness, I was so impressed with this. So that's the short film here. It's approximately 16 minutes. It's great, absolutely great. It's a scary film as well. It's there are moments where there's pretty there's some pretty scenes of blood, so it might not be for everyone in terms of the violence quotient or the horror film quotient, but if you're okay with that, it's just it is a fine work. So Suicide by Sunlight, please check that out if you can. And then last but not least, there is the trailer, which rounds out the supplements that can be found together with this Criterion disc. So I'm very happy with these supplements. As I say, it's great to have the interview supplement to start off, and I love the short film. That's a lovely trailer as well. I wish there could have been more. Really wish there could have been more. I don't know if there could have been other output or other discussions talking about maybe Jusu, or maybe also it's Amazon Studios, so maybe this might have been an interesting opportunity to talk about Amazon Studios in the fray, especially during these past couple years or so, and how this is affecting um, uh, uh, the ways in which new filmmakers are being able to find voices and reach their audiences in a very broad way. So that might have been an interesting opportunity. Who knows? Or maybe a commentary track would have been great as well. But again, it is one of those situations like we've seen before. It's not exclusive to this year or anything like that. We've seen it throughout the history of Criterion, of course, but every once in a while there might be some periods there in some releases where the supplements, the quantity of supplements might be on paper seemingly lower than, say, on other releases. So if you feel that way about a release like NANNY, that's I think a very reasonable approach to have. I wish there could have been more, but that being said, it's great to see these opportunities for me to be further introduced into the world of the art of Jusu, including NANNY, including Suicide by Sunlight, and also the interviews. But it would have been great to have had more like a commentary track, but what we have right now, I think it served a wonderful introduction into the world of Jusu's art. So yes, that's my take on the supplements for this release by Criterion of NANNY. And so now let me round out the conversation by speaking about other aspects of this release. So I've already removed, before starting the recording of this video, the insert. And it is a fold-out insert type, but I'm not a fan of the insert type. I like the, yes, robust nature of the staple booklet, but that's okay because we have the essay, which is a great essay called Troubled Water by Angelica Jade Bastién. And it's another wonderful way to be able to learn more about Jusu and NANNY and this work. Like with other essays, my recommendation is to first watch the film. And then after you watch the film, you can read the wonderful Angelica Jade Bastién essay, Troubled Water. And I should point out, too, just other aspects here. Art director Sarah Habibi, Eric Skillman, illustrator Jeremy Inicio, designer Eric Skillman, and art production coordinator William Briz, art assistant Julie Sussman, and the like. So this is I like this font. I think it's part of the marketing of this film. It has a very, the way that's depicted, there's and the font too. I like the font usage. I think it's part of the original. My understanding it's the aspect of the marketing, or how this is. How Criterion is adopting this or adapting this part of the release for Criterion. But I like the way that the letters are extending, which is reminiscent of things like insect legs and the thing, which I think is a very interesting detail. But anyway, this is the package for the NANNY, the film NANNY, excuse me. And so I just want to say what a film this is, NANNY, the Jusu work NANNY. I was very impressed. I am very impressed with this, and I've watched it a number of times now, and I find it to be a very absorbing work, chilling, very confident, wonderfully composed, and filled with a lot of social currency, with the very heart and center of the space being these beautifully rendered characters in this world, which is NANNY. All right, my dear friends, so that's it for now. And so until we meet again, please be happy and healthy and well. And please keep on watching a lot of great films like NANNY, like other films in the Criterion Collection, and beyond. So until the next video, my dear friends, stay strong, stay safe, and cheers.